Lost Ark is out. It is here to stay. People are really enjoying it. I'm currently doing the leveling process. I'm almost to level 50. I'm almost to end game. And this video is going to be taking all of the tips and things that I've learned throughout my leveling process and sharing them with you. Little things like changing certain settings or what to do with certain things in your inventory or how to move around the map a little bit easier. Think of this as kind of like a hit list of all these quick little tips that I'm sure you're really going to need throughout your leveling experience. If you're interested in more in-depth content, things about specific systems, as I learn them, I hope to be providing good info on that. I hope you guys enjoy the content. Subscribe, come over to the Twitch channel, all that jazz. Let's jump right into the tips. So this is the very beginning of the game, right? This is where you create your character right after you select your server. And one thing I just want to make sure everybody knows is that test out different classes as many times as you want. So what I suggest doing is making a character for every single class and then going into this testing area that we're going into right now and choose all the different subclasses to try things out. Keep in mind that you'll be able to use a barbershop in the game. So if you don't really want to spend time customizing every single one of your characters, you don't have to do that right away. This is something that I really think a lot of other games should have. You can try out every single class in the entire video game in the very beginning, spawn in different monsters, really see if you enjoy the class before you go on the leveling journey. So for instance, I'm going to hit G right here on this tome. It's going to open up and then I'll be able to choose between the subclasses or advanced classes for this class. I'm going to choose Shadow Hunter in this case. And then what this also does is it shows you kind of a basic info of every single one of the classes. So it shows you your attack power, mobility, defense, kind of the base stats. You can also watch a preview video that shows off a lot of its different skills, things like that. It also gives you a definition of its identity skill. So every single class in the game has an identity skill. Think of this as kind of an ultimate that you can use once you fill up a meter. So attacking fills up your shadow burst meter. Once full, press Z to transform into a demon. Now this is an identity skill specific to Shadow Hunter, and I'll show you exactly what this does here in a moment. Now again, this is not me saying I want to play this class. I'm just testing it. And what's really cool is you can summon monsters, you can summon a boss, and you can test out all the base skills for your class. So it has everything filled up here for me. All my abilities are filled, and I can even toggle. If you're more of a PvP player, you can even hit the Alt key to toggle to see the difference in the damage and things that you're doing in PvP compared to PvE, if that's really something you're worried about at this stage. So what's really cool is you can go ahead and you can summon monsters, and then you can start, testing out all of your different abilities on the enemies and really try to get a feel for if you like the way the class plays. For instance, the Shadow Hunter, this is the class we're playing right now, is really fun. I'm going to summon this boss here so I can show you guys the identity skill for Shadow Hunter. So as you can see in the bottom of my screen, now my identity bar is full. I'm going to hit the Z key. I'm going to go into demon mode, and now I'm a demon. And now I'm using a whole different set of abilities for this class that are honestly really fun and really cool to use and make you feel super powerful. So I definitely suggest coming in here, trying out all the classes, seeing which one you kind of click with most, and then going with it. That doesn't mean you have to just play this class. This game is very alt friendly, meaning you're going to have a lot of different classes that you're going to play. So for instance, I kind of suggest making a list of 3 that you want to play the majority of. My 3 are Paladin, Striker, and Shadow Hunter. What's really cool about our version, the NA version of Lost Ark, is that we get 2 free power passes once we hit level 50 on one character. So I suggest doing a DPS heavy class to level with, for instance, a Shadow Hunter or a Sorceress, not necessarily a Paladin, which is what I did, and I kind of regret that because it's taken me a little bit longer to level. But once you hit level 50 on your first class, then you unlock a power pass that you can use on another character and instantly take that character to level 50. And then once you do that on that character, you get another power pass and you can take another character to level 50 for completely free. So just by getting one class to 50, now you have 3 to level 50. So you're in end game for 3 classes. So I really think you should take your time, figure out what classes you want to play, and then choose what 3 classes you want to make level 50 once you go through the story on your first one. Before we get into game, I want to go over some of the UI and some of the settings that I think are interesting that you might want to go about changing. I personally turn off motion blur in every single one of my games. I hate it, and that's on by default, so make sure you do that. I personally like the HUD being a little bit bigger. I feel like things are a little bit harder to see in this game. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's because I'm playing in 1440p. I I don't really know. I have the HUD size on 105. You can make it 110 if you like it even bigger than that. I personally like it on 105. I think that's perfect. A lot of people play on this forced 21:9 aspect ratio, and this basically makes you have a wide screen along with, you know, your normal monitor. A lot of people do this in PvP because it allows you to see a lot more on your screen. It personally makes me a little bit nauseous, and I think a solution is underneath accessibility, there's a photosensitivity mode. If you check that, I think that helps with the nausea. That's what I've been told. But I personally don't like playing like this, even though supposedly it's better for PvP. So I'm probably going to have to get used to it. But right now, I don't necessarily play like this. But that is a thing you can do. For PvP in general, you might want to turn off most of these effects. Right now, I've been focusing on PvE just because I've been leveling. Accessibility, this is the next kind of spot that's quite important. The cursor can be changed between a bunch of different colors, and you could also change the different sizes. I'm using the largest because in top-down games, I'm always losing my cursor. I'm always missing it on the screen. So I have it to be the biggest and what I consider to be the brightest on my screen. But say you're in a specific battle and blue is not working for you. You can hold down control and use mouse wheel to change the color of your cursor in any situation. So that's really good to know, especially if you kind of have the problems that I have where I'm losing my cursor all the time on the screen. Underneath gameplay, there will be a combat outline. This is something that I use personally because I'm always losing my character on the screen, especially in a big fight. This puts an outline around your character inside of combat to help you kind of differentiate your character against all the enemies. I also put auto move here on towards cursor, so that way you can move your cursor around, hit one key. The default binding is T, and it will just follow your cursor. So this is good if you just want to kind of like walk into a direction. Okay, so now we're in game, and I'm going to go over all of the different UIs and things that I think you should worry about while you're leveling. Again, this is just kind of like your beginning tutorial. I'm not going to go super into depth in some of these systems, but there's certain things that I really think you need to know about to help your leveling experience as you go. First, we'll start off with the inventory. I hit I on my keyboard to open this up. There are a lot of items you'll be getting inside of your inventory that are worth saving long term. For instance, the Stone of Endurances. I'm not necessarily sure if every class gets the same type of stone, but these are going to be used for your awakening skill. And once you get to a max level, you'll learn what your awakening skill is, but it's basically another really big ultimate that you have. Another big thing in your inventory is you're going to have your pets inventory. And this is where I personally am storing all the things that I know are going to be good for end game. And what are those items in particular? So there's different potions. So these potions that are in my main inventory are just a specific amount of health. For instance, this apprentice healing potion is 600 health, but in my pets inventory, I'm storing these percentage based HP potions. These can't even be put into your top bar here. So if I try to put this in the 5 slot, it won't let me. These can only go in your 1, 2, 3, and 4 slots, along with all of these grenades and other useful items. These are all active items that you're going to want to save for end game, for your guardian raids and your chaos dungeons and things like that. So I don't suggest using any of these until you reach end game, and a good way to not use them is by putting them into your pets inventory. Another thing that you're going to get a lot of, specifically from doing tomes, which I just hit my N key on my keyboard to open this up. Your tomes are basically a 100% checklist for every zone or for every continent, and you're going to get a lot of these phoenix plumes. Okay, these phoenix plumes are basically your resurrection scrolls or ways to resurrect your character. So you're going to have a lot of these. You're just going to right click them once they go into your inventory, and they'll go into your count at the top of the screen. Every time you die, you'll be able to use one to resurrect in place. So those are really important to have. But let's talk a little bit more about the tomes themselves. This is something that as you complete a zone or a territory, you'll complete your adventurer's tome, and there's going to be different things that you can do in here. For instance, I still need to do some cooking. I need to cook all of these different meals. I need to kill a bunch of different types of monsters. I need to kill another world boss. I need to do some more story missions. I need to do the dungeons on hard mode and easy mode. Once you 100% your tome, you get what's called an Ignia token, and these are really good because these are used to be able to buy extra Bifrost slots, things like that. Bifrost slots are something that you use to teleport across islands for free. I'm going to go ahead and actually claim this tome because I haven't been doing it, and I'm going to show you guys. So for instance, I'm just going to right click and to be able to add these phoenix plumes to my count's inventory. But what you can do is I can actually hold down Alt and then right click, and it will automatically use that entire stack. So again, these adventure tomes are really fun. This is going to be something that I'm going to go back and do after I've done the main story quest. I'm going to go back and get all this stuff because I want all of this cool stuff that the adventure tomes give you. As you're leveling up, you're going to have your welcome challenge up here on the right. You're going to click that, and this is just a bunch of challenges that you're going to be completing as you play the game that will give you rewards. Sometimes it's silver, sometimes it's some gems, sometimes it's a card pack. It just depends on what the challenge is. You will also have your roster information. So right here on the roster button, you hit roster information. Think of this as a account wide progression system. So I am roster level 13. Every time I've leveled up, I've hit this claim reward button, and this adds a passive to my entire account. So no matter what character I have, it has all of these bonus effects. Your roster level is your account's level, while your combat level is your character's level. So keep that in mind. You're going to be leveling this up as you're playing as well. And one thing that you're going to want to think about while you're leveling is the trade skills. So there's going to be a lot of trees and rocks and flowers all over the place. I personally kind of enjoy just picking them up as I'm going along playing the game, you know, doing the questing. But there's going to come across a time where you're not going to be able to do specific types of foraging or logging and stuff until you hit level 10. For instance, there's a tree in the zone I'm in right now where I can't chop it down until I have this lumberjack. So you're going to want to open up this menu that's with the L key, and you'll be able to see your progression for all of the different trade skills. Another thing you want to keep in mind is that your pet is going to have bonuses for you. So if you hit Alt P, you're going to be able to summon your pet, and you're going to get a pet in a very early quest in the game. Or if you purchase one of the starter packs, you'll have it as well. Your pet has functions to it, so you can open up its own inventory. It can access your personal storage for your character and your roster storage for your account. So that's really nice if you're out and about and you have a full inventory, you want to dump stuff in here. You can also open up the market and buy things from the auction house in here straight from your pet. You can also access your mail from your pet. It looks like I had a login reward that I didn't get, so that's good. Make sure you check that. And you're going to be able to repair your gear and your harvestables from this. Now, another thing I want you to keep in mind is that every pet is going to have auto loot items. So you're going to want to try to get your pet ASAP. Like I said, there's going to be a guide quest in the very beginning that's going to get you a pet, but also your pet will have specific effects. Now you can change your pet effects by finding the pet master inside of a town. Another thing you're going to want to keep in mind is that to be able to equip your mount, you're going to do Alt V, and you'll have access to all your different mounts here. And all you have to do is drag and drop it into your top bar here on the bottom right to be able to access that. A lot of people think you have to open up Alt V every time and hit the ride button. Don't have to do that. You can just do it via your hotbar down below. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do spend any money in the game, but if you do have white crystals, I think a really good value item is this level complete pack, level 50. What this does is it turns 1100 white crystals into 2600 purple crystals. So you're basically making money in a way. And these purple crystals can be used to be able to buy specific skins that you can't buy with anything else, or specific mounts that you can't buy with white crystals. Or even better, you can use those to buy your 30-day crystalline aura, which is something that gives you passive benefits the entire time you're playing the game. Another thing to really keep in mind are these triports all across the map. Every single zone will have triports inside of them, and you can teleport to them for completely free if you have the crystalline aura effect, and it's a little bit of silver if not. These triports make getting around the map extremely easy. So what I like to do is whenever I go into a new zone, I literally run around and I grab all the triports before I really even start questing. That way I can just jump between all the triports and move around the map a lot faster. So another quick tip is you can hit the tab key to open up your kind of like Diablo Path of Exile-esque map. You can also move it around on your screen by holding down the middle mouse button, and you can place this wherever you like on your screen. For instance, I like placing it kind of here in the bottom right and then closing this mini map, and then I just use this to work off of. You can also teleport to triports from this map. You hold down Alt and then you left click on one of the triports and it will teleport you to that triport via the overlay map. I also wanted to quickly talk about your skills while you're leveling up. I'm a firm believer in just having fun while you're leveling, so putting things into the abilities that you think are really neat. You can always reset your skills by hitting this reset button, and it'll automatically reset everything, so you can test as much stuff as you want. You can also save everything into a different preset if you want, and you can buy more presets with those purple gems that we were talking about, but to start off you get 2 for free. I also suggest going to a website such as Maxroll to be able to find a nice leveling build for your class. For instance, this is the one for Paladin, and you can even come into the website and move around this little bar here for the specific specific level you're on, and it will tell you what abilities to use while you're leveling. And it kind of just gives you a quick little, you know, leveling guide on what to do. The fastest way to level in the game is just by following the main story quest. Now, that's not necessarily the funnest way, so that's going to be up to you if that's what you want to do. So there will also be these purple guide quests all across the map. As you're doing the story, you'll run across these purple guide quests. These are things that you're going to want to do. I personally am just kind of saving them all up till I hit level 50. They're super good to do because they kind of unlock different things for you in the game. For instance, that pet quest I was talking about gets you a free pet. And last but not least, I wanted to talk a little bit about PvP. So to be able to access PvP, you need to be level 26, and you need to be by one of the bulletin boards in one of the ports or cities. You can go ahead and right click on it, and then you can choose how you want to do PvP: team deathmatch, or team elimination. This is queuable as long as it has 1 to 3. You can play with people in a party as long as you're not doing ranked. Ranked is going to be solo only. And then you can also do this cross server as long as you're in the same regions. If your buddy couldn't get on the same server with you, you could still queue together. But when you unlock PvP, you're also going to get what's called the Book of Coordination. Think of this as your PvP building system that's separate from your PvE system. So you get 340 skill points and you get 1,000 stat points that you can put into your build any way you like. I suggest, again, looking up a good PvP build for your class to try to figure out, you know, what other people are going, and then maybe molding that into your play style. This is going to be completely separate from your PvE build. Also, a quick little other hotkey that I specifically like doing in PvP is that you can hit Alt X and turn off portions of the UI, specifically so you just have your bar down here. I like doing that in PvP because it allows me to see the screen a lot more. I'm not focused on who has the most kills. I'm just focused on playing the best that I can play. And it kind of helps with not using the 21:9 aspect ratio that we were talking about. That was making me a little bit nauseous, but you can combine them. You know, you can hit Alt X and use 21:9 to have a lot of visibility on your screen while you're playing. So those are all of my tips that I think you would need to know while you're leveling. Again, this was just kind of the very basics, something that I wanted to get out there, kind of help you guys get going from your level 1 to level 50. I personally think that this is going to be like the worst part of the game for a lot of people. I don't necessarily enjoy the on rails experience that is the leveling grind inside of Lost Ark, but I know once I hit endgame, things are going to get a lot better. So I'm really looking forward to that. If you're interested in more Lost Ark content, make sure you hit the link at the end of this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love.